I loved the headline from Lake Expo.
I did too. I love that.
Crash plus dash equals a little cash.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys heard, but Morgan County Deputy Justin Dills, son of Sheriff Norman Dills, was in that crash Saturday, the early hours of Saturday morning, December 3rd of last year. And he swerved over close to his house, being off duty, nailed another car. The individual was hurt. Both cars were totaled. And that was on December 3rd. And now, May 30th, charges have been filed. It is a single charge, a Class A misdemeanor from the Laclede County prosecutor, Amy Folsom. She was assigned special prosecutor on this case, and she filed that he was fined $130, and that's that.
That's crazy. That's unbelievable. Okay, so you've got a sheriff's deputy, the son of the sheriff, who's in this crash. He leaves the scene of the crash, taken home by another deputy, not there when the state troopers show up, right? And then the state troopers go to his house and he won't answer the door. And all of this is just sitting under the surface. Sheriff's not talking to anybody, telling us what's going on. The deputy's not talking. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, some hush-hush deal in the back room by the Laclede County prosecutor. He gets fined $130 and nothing to see here.
Oh.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Man, that is ridiculous. That is pitiful. Sheriff, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Deputy, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Laclede County prosecutor, you ought to be ashamed. This is stupid, ridiculous, dirty. This is terrible.
I agree. And this is what's crazy is he got also hit with $129 in court cost.
Oh.
Paid those that day,
Yeah.
$260, walked out a free man. No more chance of anything else happening. Now, Missouri law allows for a Class A misdemeanor up to 1 year in prison and a $2,000 fine. And you would think, being a member of LEO, being a deputy sheriff, being the son of a sheriff in a county in Missouri, they would make precedent with you.
Yeah.
They would make an example of
Yeah.
you. Quite the opposite. However, I will say this, it is exactly what we are coming to expect from Laclede County. That is where cases go to die. And when you're a sheriff and you're a buddy with a lot of people across the state,
Yeah.
it would appear that your little baby cub can do just about whatever he wants. But my question is, when does baby cub do something too bad or too far that daddy cannot cover?
Yeah,
for you?
what's the next thing? Gonna kill somebody? And dad's gonna try to cover up for that. Morgan County, you ought to be doing something about this.
No,
This
what
is-
they're doing, ignoring everybody.
That's
I've
great.
reached out 6 different times, been passed to 3 different voicemails, sent emails, and have not been given one courtesy call, and the same for Laclede County. Folsom declined to comment when asked by Lake Expo. She's never returned an email, a call from me, a Facebook message. The Morgan County Sheriff's Department not only refused to answer, but they wouldn't tell a Lake Expo if Dills was still employed by an active duty. So here's this for
They
you.
won't even answer that.
I have a whistleblower from inside the Morgan County Sheriff's Department that said not only is he still an active duty deputy sheriff, he wasn't taken off the road until March when the initial story from Lake Expo came out. He was taken off the road for 1 week and then was reinstated and is back on the road and has been ever since. That is the trouble he got into. So to answer Lake Expo's question, my whistleblower says he's never left the department. He was only taken off the road for a week, and that came after the report was filed, 3 months after the crash. And interesting. Now, the other driver, Mr. Schultz, he's got life-altering injuries. His ankle, his hip, he may never walk the same again, as a matter of fact. And according to his attorney, Tyson Muttricks, he also noted he's got back, neck, spine, and migraine issues resulting from the crash. So if they did what they were supposed to do, first, he left the scene, Deputy Dills left the scene of an injury accident. That is not up for discussion. That's a Class E felony, punishable by 4 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. And seriously injuring another person while driving drunk in Missouri would be a Class D felony with a $10,000 fine and 7 years. Of course, that's just hearsay because all we have is a Miller Lite can in the driver's side door. There was no failed sobriety test, no breathalyzer taken. no blood alcohol content level, Rudd.
Because he left the scene.
And he left the scene, as you said, by another Morgan County deputy that left post, came and got him. He refused treatment at the scene, said he was going to take himself to the hospital because he was bleeding from his head, and there's no report of him ever going to the hospital. His dad did tell Expo last month that he thought he went and saw a nurse practitioner, but he couldn't remember the name of the nurse practitioner. And then when asked if he told Deputy Judd to go get Deputy Dills, he said, well, I already gave my statement to the Highway Patrol. You should talk to them. And then Lake Expo came out and just asked him. They said, are you covering for your son? And he hung up the phone on him. And so, I mean, I don't think I'd want to talk to the media in this situation had I covered.
Well, nobody's going to want to talk, but, you know, you're supposed to be, if you're the sheriff and a deputy, you're supposed to be up front with everybody and a leader in the community. You're not supposed to run and hide and get backroom deals to get out of trouble. That's just ridiculous.
Here's what you can do. So although they botched it because there's no evidence, you can't prosecute them on anything. Well, what you can is leaving the scene of an accident, but you can't charge him with that when he got taken away from the scene by an LEO, a law enforcement officer. But here's what you can do. You can email the Missouri Post Commission at the email address on your screen. Let them know how you feel about your local sheriff's department and what's going on, because the Post Commission has the ability to revoke a license. And there's also conversation about nepotism going on.
Of course.
I believe that Dills was a deputy with Morgan County before Norman was elected as sheriff. However, if he was not and he hired his own son as a deputy, that is illegal and you will lose your job immediately for that. That's called nepotism. And that is 100% against the Missouri statute for law enforcement officer. You could also call our Missouri Attorney General and complain. You're going to want to ask for the Public Corruption Division, and you can call them at 573-751-3321. You see that number right there on your screen. But we're not done with this, because, I mean, the way they're handling this, Chris, they're like, we just have to stay silent. It'll die down. This is going to be old news by next week. That's what they're hoping, right?
Yeah,
so listen, you guys do not let this go away. If you have a problem with this, call the Missouri Attorney General and email the Missouri Post Commission and reach out to Morgan County Sheriffs. Ask them what is going on. Let them feel your concern, because I have learned that more than anything else, that these individuals, elected officials in places of power, more than anything else, they fear public humiliation.